what it's done is rather than having a benefit that big companies could take advantage of because they have benefits programs, they have benefit specialists, they have HR folks, they have a bunch of big teams that can monitor and manage these programs. What this app is allowing is for smaller businesses to take advantage of because they don't have the resources necessarily to make sure that everyone's complying. And through the app, we're able to kind of democratize that down to the smallest businesses.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Ryan McBride. He's the CEO and founder of Bluebird Benefits Group. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So Ryan, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am a serial entrepreneur, been chasing the startup dream for as long as I can remember. I was part of the dot-com boom and bust out in the late 90s in Silicon Valley, and have been living and working in the Raleigh metro area, chasing the dream here as well, since about 2010, and am super excited about launching a new business at SaaStr Annual coming up on the week, actually next week, week from tomorrow is when we launch. So super excited about the business we're building and continuation of the startup journey that I've been on for many years.
That's so exciting. So tell me a little bit about this newest adventure that you're on.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the idea of a Bluebird in sales, but I've been in sales leader, kind of go-to-market specialist. And the idea of a Bluebird is something that just kind of flies into your life, flies into your pipeline, changes everything because it's completely somewhat out of the blue. And that's what this new business is for me. 6 weeks ago, I was not planning on founding a business when all of a sudden this opportunity presented itself, and it was something that I couldn't not do. The business is really personal to me. The focus of what we're doing over the next 6, 12, 18 months is doing everything we can to get mental health and wellness benefits, employee benefits into the hands of as many startup workers as we possibly can. The idea of kind of coming out of COVID, looking at all the changes in the way that we work took place, and really being able to offer a core group of mental health and wellness benefits to employees, like I said, just kind of came up as an opportunity, and I jumped on it. We're not building anything new. We're not creating anything that doesn't exist already. But what we're doing is taking an existing product and building distribution around it and treating it more like a software application go-to-market strategy versus a benefits, employee benefits go-to-market strategy, rather than kind of one business to the next. We're going at scale and have some really talented people on the team, and super excited to launch at SaaStr next week.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, I mentioned to you before that I have my master's in social work. So, I know there's a statistic out there that says 1 in 4 Americans struggle with, diagnosable mental health illness. And that's just the ones that come forward, right? So, the importance of the work that you're doing is crucial to supporting, America's workforce, and, just the population in general. So talk to me a little bit about kind of the go-to-market strategy.
Well, so just to be super clear about what it is we're doing, the benefits that we're offering have been available for decades. There's been tax incentives built into the U.S. tax code for health and wellness benefits but with the ACA, the Obamacare 2009, 2011, some of those rules got sharpened a bit. And so the idea of having tax incentives to create wellness programs for your employees has been around for a bit, but the ACA made it more accessible, because it used to be that those plans were mainly focused on executive level and higher end earners. But the ACA made it to where if you have a plan for anyone in the company, it has to be for everyone in the company, and available to everyone. And it also built in some more stringent compliance issues, to where you had to be able, if you're creating these benefits for people, you had to create a way or make sure that the tax benefits that you were receiving as a business actually translated to your employees taking advantage of wellness activities and wellness benefits. And so the kind of the shift that we're taking advantage of is this. It's a compliance app that we're basically getting in the hands of people through a company called Health Compass, to where it is the compliance mechanism. It's where you access all of the counseling services, the addiction therapy, the diabetes therapy, all of the services. There's 24/7 telemedicine. Anything that you would need in this benefits package is accessible through the app, and that takes care of the compliance piece. So what it's done is, rather than having a benefit that big companies could take advantage of, because they have benefits programs, they have benefit specialists, they have HR folks, they have a bunch of big teams that can monitor and manage these programs. What this app is allowing is for smaller businesses to take advantage of, because they don't have the resources necessarily to make sure that everyone's complying. And through the app, we're able to kind of democratize that down to the smallest businesses and give them an opportunity to offer those same benefits and receive the same tax incentives from the government to kind of fund the program. So at the end of the day, it's a no cost benefit for the employee, to where there's no out of pocket, no charges, no copay, nothing, doesn't cost anything to the employee to take advantage of the benefits. And the employer actually receives on average about a $500 FICA tax incentive on an annual basis. So it's crazy to think about that we're building a business to give away free stuff. But that's what we're doing. And it's really, really exciting. And we're going about the go-to-market in a couple of different ways. First of all, we're focusing kind of our launch at SaaStr, which is small technology companies starting up in the software as a service industry. Just by the nature of those companies, they're lean and mean and kind of growing as they're building, as they're growing. And for us to be able to step into that space and offer those employees in those kind of high pressure, high performance, somewhat anxiety driven situations with mental health benefits and wellness benefits is just going to be something that we're really, really super excited about. But then we're also going into other verticals. We have identified 4 or 5 other verticals that we're going into. Another is automotive space. We have working through a network into the franchise automotive dealership space. We have some connections there and we know just the nature of those type jobs is there's likely not robust benefits available to those folks, but the people in the back office and the call centers doing the sales, the licensing work, all that, that's another area we're focusing. We believe there's a huge opportunity in the hospitality space as well, and the franchise hotel space, the small restaurants, the quick service restaurants. Again, small businesses that notoriously are on the lower end of the wage scale that likely don't have the robust benefits. And we're focusing on going to folks that are underserved in a lot of cases. And so it's because we're not building anything out of the ordinary other than distribution channels. That's where we're focused, is on identifying verticals that have a need for enhanced benefits, and figuring out the best way to get to those folks. And our overriding mission over the next 30 months, between the end of 2025, is that we want to get this benefits app into the hands of 1 million Americans. And we know if we are able to do that, we will have made a huge impact on the lives of so many people. And it's just, we wake up every day, I have a wonderful team that's being built, just thrilled with what we're doing and excited about what comes next, and really excited about our launch next week at SaaStr.
Yeah, it makes sense, the launch at SaaStr, when you're kind of talking about those small to medium-sized businesses that you're targeting, really focusing on accessibility. And it sounds too like education as well. I imagine education has got to be a big part of kind of the root of the Bluebird Benefits Group in informing employers, employees about the options that are available.
Yeah, there's a huge awareness component, right? And it's we know that with some success next week and the following weeks, that we'll be in a position to really be strategic about how we go out and message and create this awareness, because clearly everyone that lived through COVID, there's no one on the planet that wasn't affected by COVID. Some people thrived, some people didn't, but everyone was affected. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a kind of everyone will remember what happened when they were at where they were, and for a lot of people it's going to leave a scar. And there's, coming out of COVID, there's a lot of opportunity to help people work through the issues that surfaced during COVID. I mean, like I said, it's a personal mission for me. I personally have been affected by mental health for most of my adult life. I was diagnosed bipolar when I was 25 years old, and have had struggles since that time, and can only imagine how my life may have been a little bit different, how hard spots in the road and the journey could have been navigated differently if I had access to 24/7 crisis counseling at the tip of my finger. I mean, back then we didn't have smartphones, but if there was a flip phone and a number, right? But now technology is at a point where we have such a huge opportunity to help people in their time of need, and knowing that COVID is something that will affect generations to come. It just feels like such a perfect time for us to be doing what we're doing and helping folks the way we intend to.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate, your honesty and transparency with kind of where the root of your passion comes for, in founding Bluebird Benefits Group. I really, appreciate that story that you told. And, I'm curious to pick your brain a little bit kind of prior to this launch, not necessarily about mental health in general, but do you hear any common misconceptions? And I think I have an idea of where this may go. But do you have any common misconceptions that you've heard kind of before your launch with Bluebird Benefits Group?
In regards to...
So I think I know where I might have been leading you, but it was down towards like people not necessarily understanding the availability. Is that something that you hear often?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's such a thing in startup culture in general, but in just American culture, it's to admit that you have weakness in any form or fashion is it's difficult, right? And that you have vulnerabilities, or that you have a condition that is there's such a taboo, or there has been for many, many years, to talk about mental health in the same way that you would talk about dental health, right? I mean, it's not the same opportunity to have conversations. But that I've seen that changing. I've seen just because of the growing kind of social media, kind of people being vulnerable online as a way to connect with others. I think there's a lot more acceptance of people coming forward and raising their hand and saying, I'm going through a hard time. But it's not always been that way. It's been difficult personally for me to share with people that I work with, or people that I work for, of the struggles that I've been going through. That was one of the hardest things that I had to do. When was it? 2017, 2018, to where I was in a VP level strategy position at a software company, and I just was not functioning. I could not do what I needed to do the job. And I had one of the hardest conversations I ever had, where I went into the CEO's office and said, I need to take a step back. I need to not be doing what you're asking me to do on a daily basis, because I'm not performing. I can't do it. And being at a point in my life to where I could take that step back and be vulnerable to my boss at that time, it was somewhat life-changing. And the reaction that I thought might come was not there at all. It was such a wonderful response, and caring, and just really it changed the way that I thought about it, right? Because it was clear that I was going through something, but the way he reacted was just incredible, and it changed my whole thought about being able to share my own struggles with others. And then there's folks on our team that most everyone on our team, and I don't think our team is unique. I would imagine most folks on most teams, there's a lot of personal just history and stories to tell about their own or a loved one's mental health journey that is becoming more easy to talk about. And we want to be on the kind of the forefront of being not only able to talk about it, but then also to offer solution. And one of the cool things about the access that we're providing through the app is it's completely separate from any insurance policies. It's completely separate from any work-related things. So if an employee has access, is given access through their employment, and they have conversations with clinicians through the app, there's no record of that. No one needs it. It's completely private. It's completely separate and segregated from the existing insurance policies, which people find really really valuable in
Absolutely.
that it's you can have conversations with psychiatrists and be diagnosed and get prescribed medicine, and no one outside of that relationship there's no record of it anywhere other than in that doctor patient relationship. It's phenomenal.
Wow. I appreciate, again, your story about being able to go to your boss, because I imagine that's a struggle for a lot of people too, to be able to be their vulnerable self and say, listen, this is something that I really need help with. And, it sounds like, you're coming from a very customer client centric view in order to support, the growth of Bluebird Benefits Group prior to the launch of SaaStr. I think that this is, a fascinating journey that you're starting on, and I'm looking forward to, tracking the growth of Bluebird Benefits Group. So, before we head out today, Ryan, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, whether it be about the accessibility in education, about the Bluebird Benefits Group in general, about mental health, any advice, anything that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm most proud of in what we're building is the accessibility piece, right? And for a lot of businesses, we're on a budget, we're starting up, we don't have a lot of funds. We would love to offer everything possible to our employees because you can attract and retain really quality people with good benefits packages. But typically there's some trade-offs need to be made to fund that. The really just exciting thing about what it is that we're doing is that it's literally no cost to the employee, no cost to the employer, and the employer actually gets a FICA tax credit so they're saving money by offering benefits, and it's, like I said, crazy to think about, but the way that the US government thinks about it is that through this preventative health initiative that we're implementing, the government believes that we either pay now or we pay later. And so if they can get out in front of, or if they can incent businesses to get out in front of potential health issues down the road, it's to their advantage because of Medicare and Medicaid and everything associated with the rising costs of healthcare. So if they can offer employers a nominal tax incentive to deploy these programs, and we've married this up with some real cool compliance things and plugging into existing networks and so forth that make it easy for a small business to take advantage of these savings. That's the part that is really, really exciting. It's every business that has W-2 employees can deploy this program and save money, which is just the guiding star that we wake up to every morning. This is what we should be doing, and we should be getting this in front of as many people as possible, because it's not only going to help the employer save a little money, but offering it to the employees and giving them that outlet, an access point to services that they don't have today. That's where it makes us goosebumps every day. That's awesome.
I think that's, you Bluebird Benefits Group is right on the precipice for, that absolute change in accessibility. I think that's fantastic. Like you said, being able to offer this to employers and knowing the benefits that, it's the impact it's going to have is profound. And like I said before, I'm excited to, watch the growth of Bluebird Benefits. So, Ryan, I think this has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate, all of your knowledge, your experience, your vulnerability and kind of your own story. I think this was a fantastic episode, and I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas.
Thanks, Kelsey.